Hi everyone. I just tried to film a video about making vacation TBRs and I don't know if I'm going to end up publishing that one or not. I don't think it came out the way I was hoping for. So I just thought I'd kind of more informally chat to you about it because that seems to be a format that works a little bit better for me. So I leave on Sunday for we leave on Sunday for our trip. It's a 2-week road trip, and part of planning to travel for me includes making a traveling list of the books that I want to read, either before we go or during the trip. So I began this in 2015 when we were going to London. I read London by Rutherfurd. I felt like the trip was better because I had read that book. It just gave me a sense of the city that I wouldn't have had if I had just gone in cold. And it also gave me a sense of the city that I wouldn't have had if I read a travel guide, because travel guides are really more about telling you factual information. They're not really there to connect you to a place, to the people who lived there before, who lived there before and who live there now. They're more just instructional guides. So reading a novel set in a place can really give you a strong and compelling experience that you can connect to emotionally. Because for me, I would say, a huge part of why I read is to connect emotionally with place, with people, with other experiences that I don't have and I don't share. The next TBR that I made was my France-Paris TBR. Paris was a lifelong dream for me. When I found out we were going and we started buying the tickets and doing research, I was so excited, and I read a lot of books, about 13 books before we went on that trip. And I read memoirs, I read novels based on real people, I read some art guides, what arts to see. I read about different places, for example, Monet Giverny. So Giverny is the city, the little village actually, where Monet set up his home, and that's where his gardens is, and his home is now a museum, and I knew we were going to go there, so I wanted to read about that. And I loved reading about France before. It helped me get excited. It helped, prepare me for shifting into a new culture. And then while I was there, I read another 4 books set in France. So, they were of different time periods. They were actually all except for one during the wars. So the first 2 were during the First World War, and the third was during the Second World War. All the Light We Cannot See by Doerr, of course, was still very popular. That wasn't the year it came out, but it was still a super popular book at that stage. And the other books were the Great War series by Jennifer Robson. She's a Canadian writer, and they're a bit lighter, but still really well written. So that experience was one that I still to this day am enamored by and wish we could return to France. I loved it there so much. My Paris and France TBR list is about 54 books, and I think it will continue to grow. I just read now to reminisce about what it was like to be traveling there. And I also read more about it just because it remains to me a place that I feel a really deep connection to. And it's really good to indulge that connection to place through your reading. So this is something that I've continued to do over the last few years, and I'm doing it this year as well with our travels to Alberta. I just finished my second book pre-trip, which was Badlands. I just filmed a review of this book because it also fits into my 1970s project, and So more about that to come after the trip, because I want to insert some footage of the actual Badlands when we're there. Odori is on my list by Darcy Tamayose while we are there. I'm going to be reading this one. I'm also going to be reading the second Emily book. I went over my whole July TBR in a separate video, so I won't go into it in too much detail, but these books are ones that I feel will enhance the experience of traveling. And so if you are traveling somewhere and you don't usually read books set in the places that you're going to, I would encourage you to try it. I think it is a lot of fun. It makes it kind of prepares you for where you're going, what you might see. It familiarizes you with names of streets, with names of towns, with sounds, smells, feelings you might have when you're in a new place. I follow Draw Me a Book Review on Instagram, and she has created a really great hashtag that she encourages people to use if they read a book about a place that they are traveling to, and it's called #ReadingMyTravels. So I would encourage you to also use that hashtag if you decide to read any books about a place that you're going this year, and it'll be really fun for other people to follow along. So we leave on Sunday. I'm not ready to go, but I still have a few days to prep all that, and I think it's going to be a really fun, pretty low-key trip in a lot of ways, to places that a lot of the places I have already been, and I'm returning to 20 years later to check them out again. And where are you going? Are you going somewhere this summer, and did you read a book about it? Please let me know. I really enjoy hearing about other people's reading and the books that they read before going somewhere, because you never know the next place you're going to travel to, and so it's always great to know where books are set in advance, so that you can kind of plan around reading novels that are going to be in the place that you're going to. Thanks so much for watching. We'll vlog my trip for sure and share more imagery from our trip through the Rockies and out into the desert. I don't know how much you will see of me while I'm away. I may try to pre-post a video and get that up. We will see how much time I have in this week, but I wish you all a wonderful July, and I will certainly be back near the end of July with some vlogs to share of our travels. So take care until then, and I hope you're enjoying your day.